Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and you're in a sprinkling of books. So today I'm going to be doing my April TBR and I'm actually going to need your help. So let's get right in. First off, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on unceded Indigenous territory. So let's start with our video. So today my TBR, I have a lot of books that I haven't read yet. Who doesn't, right, on their shelves. And I usually don't do TBRs. I do a lot of audiobooks. So what that means is I put holds in the library or I check, what's new, that kind of thing. And then I just go from there. Just because I don't want to put too much pressure on me of like, these are the books I have to read. And then at the end of the month, you haven't read any of them and then you feel terrible. So, I have a few books that I'm already reading. I have a few books that are coming, that are on hold, that are coming this month. So I have 12 books in front of me right now. And the way I'm going to need your help to do this TBR is I'm going to go in a clock pattern, which means that I'll do one book, and that's for 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc., etc. So when you are watching this video, what you need to do is in the comments, tell me what time it is. And by the end of next week, something like that, I'll go through the comments and see, oh, everyone watched it at 3 p.m. So I'm going to choose a 3 p.m. book and so on and so forth. So I'll choose 3 books. So the top 3 books is what I'm going to be adding onto my TBR. Hopefully that made sense. I will also have the picture on Instagram, so go check me out there at A Sprinkling of Books. And when you see my post, just say what time it is currently where you are, and then go from there. So without further ado, I'm gonna go through all 12 books. And the way I'm gonna kind of do it, because some of these books I have no idea what they are about, I'll do kind of like a dramatic reading of the synopsis. Okay, you ready? Let's go right in. First book, Dry, by Neil Shusterman and Jared Shusterman. So here's the synopsis. Everyone's going to remember where they were when the taps went dry. The drought, or the tap out as everyone calls it, has been going on for a while now. Everyone's life has become an endless list of don'ts. Don't water the lawn, don't fill up your pool, don't take long showers, until the taps run dry. Suddenly, Alicia's quiet suburban street spirals into a war zone of desperation, neighbors and families turning against one another in the hunt for water. When her parents don't return and she and her brother are threatened, Alicia has to make impossible choices if she's going to survive. Boom, boom, boom. This seems like a good book, actually. Okay, so that was Dry. The Deepest Roots by Miranda Acevedo. Oh, let's see where the synopsis is. It seems like there are 2. There's one there, and there's one on the dust jacket. Which one do I read? We'll go with this one. Cottonwood Hollow, Kansas, is a strange place. For the past century, every girl has been born with a special talent, like the ability to fix any object, heal any wound, or find what is missing. The best friends, Rome, Lux, and Mercy, their abilities often feel more like a curse. Rome may be able to fix anything she touches, but that won't help her mom pay rent or make it any easier to confide in Lux and Mercy about what's going on at home. Lux's ability to attract any man with a smile has always meant danger. And although Mercy can make enough of whatever is needed, even that won't help when her friendship with Rome and Lux is tested. As Rome struggles to keep her friendships close, she discovers the truth about life in Cottonwood Hollow. That friends are stronger than curses, that trust is worth the risk, and sometimes what you've been looking for has always been under your feet the whole time. That seems like a cool book. So this is the 2 p.m. book. 3 p.m. book, The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. Glimmering like a jewel behind its gateway, the kingdom is an immersive fantasy theme park where guests soar on virtual dragons, castles loom like giants, and bioengineered species, formerly extinct, roam free. It is also home to the Fantasists, 7 beautiful android hybrid princesses whose sole purpose is to make dreams come true. As one of the most favored fantasists, Anna adores her life at the park. But when she meets Owen, Anna begins to experience emotions beyond her programming, including, for the first time, love. But the fairy tale takes a dark turn when Owen goes missing and is presumed dead. All evidence points to Anna. She is accused of Owen's murder, igniting the trial of the century. Through courtroom testimonies, interviews, and Anna's own memories emerge a whole original, often shocking tale of love, lies, and the frightening truth that fuel our wildest fantasies. So that's the 3 p.m. book. Fly Girls. So, how 5 daring women defied all odds and made aviation history. Between the world wars, no sport was more popular or more dangerous than airplane racing. While male pilots were lauded as heroes, the few women who dared to fly were more often ridiculed until a cadre of women pilots banded together to break through the entrenched prejudices. Can't say that word. Fly Girls weaves together the stories of 5 remarkable women. Florence Klinken-Smith, a high school dropout from Fargo, North Dakota. Ruth Elder, an Alabama divorcee. Amelia Earhart, the most famous, but not necessarily the most skilled. Ruth Nichols, who chafed at her blue blood family's expectations. And Louise Taden, the young mother of 2 who got her start selling coal in Wichita. Together, they fought for the chance to fly and race airplanes, and in 1936, one of them would triumph, beating the men in the toughest air race of them all. So, Fly Girl, and this is the 5 o'clock book. The Poppy War by R.F. Kwan. So, if you haven't heard about this book in BookTube, maybe you've been living under a rock. I'm just saying, it's everywhere. But I still haven't read it, so we'll see. So, when War Orphan Rin aced the Keiju, the empire-wide test to find the most talented youth to learn at the academies, she surprised everyone. Test officials, the guardians who wanted to marry her off, and further their criminal enterprises, and even herself. But being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not easy at Singard, the most elite military school in Nikon. Targeted by rival classmates for her color, poverty, and gender, Rin discovers that gods, long thought dead, are very much alive, and that she possesses a lethal, unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism that could be the weapon the Empire desperately needs. While Nikkara is at peace, its enemies and former occupiers, the Federation of Mugen, bids its time, and a 3rd Poppy War is just a spark away. Rin's shamanic powers may be the only way to save her people, yet as she discovers more about the god that has chosen her, the vengeful Phoenix, she fears that winning the war may cost her humanity, and it may already be too late. So this is the 5 o'clock. The Winner's Curse by Ruth Rutkowski. Ooh, try saying that 10 times fast. They were never meant to be together. As a general's daughter, 17-year-old Kestrel enjoys an extravagant and privileged life. Aaron has nothing but the clothes on his back. Then Kestrel makes an impulsive decision that binds Aaron to her. Though they try to fight it, they can't help but fall in love. In order to be together, they must betray their people. But to be loyal to their countries, they must betray each other. Set in a new world, The Winner's Curse is a story of rebellion, duels, ballroom dances, wicked rumors, dirty secrets, and games where everything is at stake and the gamble is whether you will keep your head or lose your heart. 6 o'clock, The Winner's Curse. Boneless Mercies by April Guinevere Chukolski. Tucholsky. And it's even blurbed by Lainey Taylor. Trained warriors kill loudly, we kill silently, and that is how you hunt a beast. Frey yearns for a life worthy of saga and song, but she is a boneless mercy, a member of an ancient female sect that has survived the rising and falling of kingdoms. Mercies are death traders, doomed to roam Vorsland, killing the old and the sick for meager pay. Their methods are quiet, even merciful, yet whenever their work leads them, their daggers inspire unease. Frey and her band of mercies, Ovi, Runa, and Juniper, are wary of the death trade and dream of a bigger life. So when Frey hears that a beast is slaughtering people in a northern jarldom, she decides that slaying the creature is the mercy's chance at fame and fortune, even if it means they must align with the reclusive sea witches and face the ruthless cat queen of the Red Willow Marsh. Their success or failure might change the faith of women everywhere. With prose as silken and slippery as blood, the complex truths of Tucholsky's new novel will sink into your bones and linger long after the last page is turned. So that's the 7 o'clock. And the 8 o'clock is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. I've just watched an owl babble on Instagram Live with her yesterday. It was a really good interview. So, The Gilded Ones. 16-year-old Decca lives in fear and anticipation of the blood ceremony that will determine whether she becomes a member of her village. Already different from everyone else because of her unnatural intuition, Decca prays for red blood so she could finally feel like she belongs. But the day of the ceremony, her blood runs gold, the color of impurity, and Decca knows she will face a consequence worse than death. Then a mysterious woman comes to her with a choice: stay in the village and submit to her fate, or leave to fight for the emperor in an army of girls just like her. They are called Alaki, near immortals with rare gifts, and they are the only ones who can stop the empire's greatest threat. Knowing the dangers that lie ahead, yet yearning for acceptance, Decca decides to leave the only life she's ever known, but as she journeys to the capital to train for the biggest battle of her life, she discovers that the Great Walled City holds many surprises. Nothing and no one are quite what they seem to be, not even Decca herself. In this bold and immersive fantasy, a young heroine fights to save a world that would dare to tame her and discover that she is her own fiercest weapon. The Gilded Ones. We are at, what, 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 o'clock. Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. When Andra wakes up, she's drowning. Not only that, but she's in a hot, dirty cave. It's the year 3102, and everyone keeps calling her goddess. When Andra went into a cryonic sleep for a trip across the galaxy, she expected to wake up in 100 years, not 1,000. Worst of all, the rest of the colonists, including her family and friends, are dead. They died centuries ago, and for some reason, their descendants think Andra's a deity. She knows she's nothing special, but she'll play along if it means she can figure out why she was left in stasis and how to get back to Earth. Zaid, the exiled bastard prince of Erin-Sed, has other plans. 4 years ago, the sleeping goddess's glass coffin disappeared from the palace, and Zaid devoted himself to finding it. Now, he's hoping the goddess will be the key to taking his rightful place on the throne, if he can get her to play that part, that is. Because if his people realize she doesn't actually have the power to save their dying planet, they'll kill her. With a vicious monarch on the throne and a city tearing apart at the seams, Zaid and Andra might never be able to unlock the mysteries of her fate, let alone find a way to unseat the king, especially since Zaid hasn't exactly been forthcoming with Andra? And 1,000 years from home, is there any way of knowing that Earth is better than the planet she's woken up to? Ooh. Goddess in the Machine. 9 o'clock. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Pinner. In 18th century London, women whisper of a hidden apothecary shop and its mysterious owner, Nella, who sells well-disguised potions to use against the oppressive men in their lives. Nella's dark world is no place for her newest patron, a precocious 12-year-old named Eliza Fanning, but their unexpected bond sparks a string of consequences that echoes through the centuries. 200 years later, aspiring historian Caroline Parswell is running from her own demons when she discovers a clue to London's long unsolved apothecary murders. Caroline's upended present soon collides with an explosive history, binding her fate to Nella's and Eliza's in a stunning twist that transcends the barrier of time. The Lost Apothecary, your 10 o'clock book. Blackfish City by Sam J. Miller. When a strange new visitor arrives in a floating city in the Arctic, humanity's last hope after the ravages of climate change, the city is entranced. She's riding an orca and has a polar bear at her beck and call. She's called the Orcamancer, and she very subtly unites 4 desperate people to stage unprecedented acts of resistance. By banding together, they will learn shocking truths about themselves and save their city before it crumbles under the weight of its own decay. 11 o'clock book, Blackfish City. And sorry, I just put my book down. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. The Disasters by M.K. England. Tagline, space is hard, grab a helmet. Hotshot pilot Nats Hall has a history of making poor life choices, so it's not exactly a surprise when he's kicked out of the elite Ellis Station Academy in less than 24 hours. But Nax's one-way trip back to Earth is cut short when a terrorist group attacks the Academy. Nax and 3 other washout escape, barely, but they're also the sole witnesses to the biggest crime in the history of space colonization and the perfect scapegoats. On the run and framed for atrocities they didn't commit, Nax and his fellow failures execute a dangerous heist to spread the truth about what happened at the Academy. They may not be the Academy material, but they may not get along, but they're the only ones left to step up and fight. There you go. There's your 12 o'clock book, The Disasters. So, there you have it. Let me know, which book should I be adding to my April TBR? If there's one that really grabs out to you, you could just say 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whichever. But it'd be fun to see at what time you're seeing this, and then I'll go from there and pick the book. So I think that pretty much wraps up. Do you want a little recap? Maybe? Okay, fine. So 12 o'clock is The Disasters. 11 o'clock, Blackfish City, sorry. Your 10 o'clock, The Lost Apothecary. 9 o'clock, Goddess in the Machine. 8 o'clock, The Gilded Ones. 7 o'clock, The Boneless Mercies. 6 o'clock, The Winter's Curse. 5 o'clock, The Poppy War. 4 o'clock, Fly Girls. 3 o'clock, The Kingdom. 2 o'clock, The Deepest Root. And 1 o'clock, Dry. Okay, thank you very much. Make sure you leave a comment down below, little thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Also go check out my Instagram, and the final picture will be there. And we'll see you next time. Bye!